Hello everyone, hello Professor. My name is Ntamack, a student at the Grand Canyon University, currently studying Cyber 610, which is penetration testing and risk management. And today we'll be talking about challenging our hacking scale. So we have as the first part the pen test planning. So we have a planning approach which is identify the scope for Metasploit, define the objective by discovering the vulnerability and recommend mitigation using the tools such as Kali Linux, Nmap, Nikto, OWASP, and Nexus. As the organizing process, we are going to establish a test timeline, create backup, snapshot, and document finding during the test. When it comes to value the pen test, the pen test help us to identify vulnerability before the hacker do. It helps us support compliance and risk management, and it enhances security posture on IR. For the handle failure, we will stop and document any deviation. We will report any failure to the project lead, and we conduct root cause analysis and we revise procedures to prevent recurrence. So we're going to start with the part B, which is the Nmap scan. So in our Kali Linux, so we run the command Nmap -NA. First of all, Nmap is used to identify the open port and services, and then it's useful for reconnaissance. And then we run this command, the Nmap -SN, to discover all network elements. So we can clearly see that our target with the Metasploit is that has the IP which is 192.168.56.5. And then we use the second tool, which is Nikto. So Nikto is used to check for web server vulnerability, and then it highlights the outdated software misconfiguration. So when we run the command nikto.h, we saw the target IP, the target host name, the target port, and then we saw a bunch of vulnerability, such as the Apache. So we saw a bunch. So I can't really see here because it's too small. But we have a lot of vulnerability that we saw when running this command. So now in our OWASP, first of all, OWASP is an automated web application scanning tool. It helps finding the common web vulnerabilities such as the cross-app scripting and SQL injection. So we perform an automated scan on our target IP, which is our Metasploit 2, and we have launched the attack. As you can see that we have 21 alert that you can see at the alert section. Now for the Nexus scan. Nexus is a comprehensive vulnerability assessment, and then provide risk rating and remediation suggestion. As you can see, we did our scan, and then we found some critical vulnerabilities, some high, some medium, some low, but we focus more on the critical and high vulnerability. So the first one is the Apache Tomcat. So as you can see, we have this vulnerability. So this vulnerability has to do with the Java-based web server for our system. For this case, it can serve as a vector attack for bad actor to launch, exploit, and compromise our system. The solution for this vulnerability is to upgrade the Apart Tomcat to a newer version provided by the provider. And then we have the second vulnerability, which is the Apache Tomcat AGP connector request injection. And then we have the third one, which is the PHP my admin proud to 4.8.6 SQL vulnerability. And then the last one, we have the PHP my admin setup script configuration parameters arbitrary PHP code injection. And then, as you can see, for all those screenshots, we have the description and then the solution, or how to mitigate, to harden or to mitigate for this vulnerability. And then we have the severity, we have the risk score and everything. So now for part C, which is the risk assessment and gap analysis. So when I was doing the Nexus scan, I found several vulnerability, but I was just able to screenshot 4, but actually I got 7, which is the PHP CGI remote code execution, which is known as CV 2012-18-23, and then that allow unauthenticated remote attacker to execute arbitrary code via a crafted query string. And then you have the PHP CGI query string parameter, and then we have as we say, the Apart Tomcat. We have the Apart Tomcat AGP. We have the PHP my admin before 4.8.6 SQL injection, and then we have the PHP my admin setup script configuration parameter arbitrary PHP code injection, and then we have the PHP my admin vulnerability. So the gap we identify, we saw a lot of outdated software, such as the Apache Tomcat or the old PHP my admin. So there were also the unpatched vulnerability. So we had a high and critical security patches not applied. We have a weak web application security. We have a lack of hardening. We have the insufficient monitoring, and then we have no access control. So, as part of the countermeasure, so we have to upgrade and patch. So as a countermeasure, we have to immediately upgrade PHP, Apache Tomcat, and PHP my admin to the latest secure version, and then you have to apply all security patches as soon as they are released. And then the analysis, we have an analysis. The outdated software often contains non-vulnerability with public exploit. By upgrading, we can remove this the vulnerability and benefit from security improvement and active support. And then we have the second countermeasure, which is hardening the application and server configuration. So, as a countermeasure, we have to disable and or restrict dangerous feature. We have to remove or secure default and setup scripts. we have to set correct file and directory permission to restrict who can upload or execute file. As other countermeasure, we have to restrict access and network configuration. So we have to limit access to web management tools such as phpMyAdmin, using firewall rule, VPN, or IP whitelisting. You have to place sensitive services on separate network segments, not exposed directly to the internet. And then as for authentication, as for you have the authentication and credential management. You have to change all default credential and enforce strong and unique password. You have to implement the MFA for administrative access. As the fifth countermeasure, you have to do the import validation and web application security. As a countermeasure, you have to use input validation and parameterize queries to prevent secret injection. You have to sanitize all user input and escape output in web application. You have to deploy a web application firewall to block common attack patterns. And then you have to disable unnecessary services. Also, as a countermeasure, you have to monitor login and do the incident response. That means you have to implement centralized login and real-time monitoring for suspicious activity, and then you have to set up alerts for anomalous behavior such as failed login attempt or unexpected configuration change. And then the last countermeasure is you have to regularly do the security assessment. So you have to constantly conduct regular vulnerability scan and pen test. You have to perform code reviews and compliance check against industry standards. For the expected result, you have you should reduce the vulnerability exposure, such as critical vulnerability that we mentioned earlier, such as remote code execution, SQL injection, and coordination. And then we should eliminate or reduce after patching and upgrading PHP, Apache Tomcat, and phpMyAdmin. You have to conduct the vulnerability scan using the tool. For the second expected result, we have to enhance security posture. So the attack surface is minimized by disabling or removing unnecessary features or services. So now, as for the explanation, you have to do the patch management and upgrading. So the first step is to upgrade all outdated software and apply the latest security patches. These will remove non-exploit and close attack vectors, and this will bring the system in line with the vendor's supported secure version. You have to configure the hardening. So you have to disable or remove unnecessary services or set up script, which will prevent attackers from leveraging weak or default configuration and reduce the number of exploitable entry points. So this is a summary table about the reduced risks and the hardening effect. So the first element, the patching and upgrade, will help us stop non-exploit and maintain secure support system. You have to configure the hardening as a risk reduce, it will help us reduce unnecessary entry point, and it will help limit the attacker option. And then you have the access control, you have the web application, you have the monitoring response, and then you have the continuous assessment. So now this is the part where we have to change the Metasploit password, as you can see on the screenshot. So I log in using the MSF admin, and then I change the password using the command password. Yeah, and then I updated, and then I upgraded the system as the second option about the parts we talk about. So the first option was changing the password. The second option was updating the system, and the third option is install and configure a password, as you can see on the screenshot. So I configure a firewall, and then I allow traffic going to the port 22, because we realize that the port 23, which is telnet, is vulnerable. So we allow all traffic going to the secure port, which is port 22. So now in terms of cost, as you can see, it did not cost us a lot of money, since we basically did it here. So and then these actions are performed quickly. So it did not take us a lot to configure or cost us a lot of money. Now, in terms of the experience, this action can be performed quickly, which each taking just a few minutes. They do not require lengthy system downtime or computer change management, making them ideal for immediate risk reduction. As a criticality, this change directly address some of the most exploitable and high-risk vulnerabilities, such as default credentials are often the first attack vector for automated exploit and manual attacker. And then we have the vulnerability impacted by the change. So we have changing the default password mitigate risk from brute force and credential stuffing attack, exploiting non-credential. We have to disabling telnet/insecure services, remove the possibility of remote code execution or credential compromise via legacy and unencrypted protocol. So now we did a comparison between the expected and the actual result. As expected result, the system will be less vulnerable to automated and manual attacks targeting default settings and services. Vulnerability scan will show a reduction in high critical finding linked to default credential, open telnet port, and phpMyAdmin setup script exposure. And then there's no negative impact on essential system operation. And then the actual result, most expectations were met. Vulnerability scan confirmed the closure of default credential and telnet related finding. No adverse effect on core services or user access were observed. And then the lesson learned from hardening the system is simple steps like changing password and disabling unused services significantly enhance security. Many vulnerabilities exist solely due to default setting left unchanged after installation. Ongoing patching and monitoring are necessary to defend against evolving threat. You can see the references I use to do this project. Thank you so much.